Papa, it's me, Isabella. I just thought I'd let you know that I'm off to London to make some magic and pasta. Ciao.
Buongiorno and welcome to Magic and Pasta with me, Isabella Franco. Today I'm making the classic Italian dessert, tiramisu, but with a twist. The iconic tiramisu is the perfect marriage of mascarpone, coffee and zabaglione, but it's become so popular that I've decided it's time to give it a revamp. So let me introduce you to the Tiramisu Crepe Cake. You will need for this recipe some basic ingredients, your regular pancake recipe, so I've got 2 eggs here, which I'm going to crack into a bowl, and I always use free range and as large as possible. Add to that 100 grams of plain flour, and then finally 300 mils of milk and a pinch of salt. Then we're just going to whisk this together by hand, just to make sure all of the ingredients are incorporated and it doesn't split when we put it in the pan to fry. So tiramisu is actually a relatively recent recipe. It's said to originate in Venice and was said to have aphrodisiac properties. So it was actually served in brothels in Treviso, and that started about 50 years ago. Whether that's myth or legend, I'm not sure. But it might be a lovely recipe to make for your loved one anyway, if it does have that aphrodisiac effect. Okay, so what you want to do is add a knob of butter to a heavy based frying pan. And then you're just going to put that onto a medium heat. And then we're going to fry up a batch of about 16 of these pancakes. And then we're going to layer them with a beautiful mascarpone cream with a lovely rich coffee flavour and a splash of alcohol as the pick-me-up, the tiramisu. Just twirl that around your pan, make sure it's all melted. You don't want anything sticking to the bottom. And I'm using an 18-inch pan here. Make sure that obviously you want to fill the pan with your mixture because this cake is based on the fact that all of the pancakes are going to be one size. So you need to make sure everything's fairly even. So butter's now melting. We've got our lovely bubbly recipe here. And into the pan it goes. Just make sure it touches the edges, and you're going to use a flat spatula just to make sure that you obviously need to flip it over and make sure it's golden evenly all over. So once the bubbles start to form on the top of the pancake, that's usually when you know that it's ready to flip. I'm just going to turn the heat up on mine slightly. And obviously, if you're feeling daring, you can try giving it a toss as well. So once you've made your pancake, you want to leave them in a stack on the plate covered with a damp tea cloth, and that's going to keep them nice and fresh for when we come to actually making the cake itself. So I'm just going to loosen up the edges slightly. I can see that it's not sticking to the sides, so that's brilliant. And I think pancakes are one of the best things to make when you just have nothing left in the cupboards. All you need is a couple of ingredients, a splash of lemon and some caster sugar, and job's a good 'un. Obviously, being Italian, I like to have Nutella with mine, but then I like to have Nutella with absolutely everything. So any topping you fancy is good for a pancake. Now, I think this recipe works really well because a pancake is quite a spongy texture, and that means that it's going to really soak in and develop all those lovely creamy coffee flavours, much like it would if you made the regular recipe with Savoiardi sponge fingers. Okay, it's starting to solidify now, and my parents are very traditional when it comes to Italian cooking. My father's a chef and he has his own restaurant, and he rarely strays from the classic recipes, so I had to make this for him as a surprise. And I have to say, even my traditional papa was very impressed with this. I think it's always a great surprise when you cut through and you see all those lovely layers. So, time to turn the pancake. And just loosen it up on all edges. And there we go, all done. That was touch and go for a minute. Okay, so you're actually going to make 16 of these. I'm sure you don't want to watch me doing all of that, so I'm going to move on to the next step when you have all of your crepe made. So here we have our stack of crepe, all very even, and what we're going to do is mix up a lovely mixture to go in the middle of those. So you will need some mascarpone into a bowl, and you're going to add to that some lovely strong espresso. Now lots of people say that strong instant coffee will do. I'm not one of those people. You need the proper Italian coffee. And then add in a splash of amaretto, or whichever liqueur you like. It could be a nice Tia Maria, or you can leave it out completely. It's entirely up to you. And then I have just added in some icing sugar, and I'm just going to mix that together, blend it all. And honestly, the smell that comes out of this with that coffee and the lovely nutty amaretto is just fantastic. So once that's mixed together, you're going to add in some double cream. Don't be shy. And then you're going to actually whisk this either with an electric whisk or in the KitchenAid like I'm going to. Or if you're feeling particularly strong, then you can do it by hand, but it will take a bit longer. Okay, so in it goes. And whisk up. Okay, so what you are left with is a lovely thick cream. Now you wouldn't use cream in a real tiramisu, but here this is a modern twist, so we're allowed to use it here. And all we're going to do is just layer the crepe with this lovely coffee, creamy amaretto mixture. Now the important thing here is just to make sure that you spread it evenly, because otherwise you're going to end up with more of a Tower of Pisa. And I like to imagine that I'm just spooning on the passata onto my pizza dough at this point, and it gives you that perfect even finish. And you're just going to repeat that until you've used up all of these amazing crepe. So once you've done that, you will use the leftovers to completely cover the crepe, and you are left with this absolute beauty. Now the last touch for this is going to be to sprinkle some cocoa powder over the top. Don't do this before you put it in the fridge to set, because actually it will go bitter and it won't taste as nice when it comes out. So do this at the last minute just before you serve. And then I'm just going to show you how I can cut into this, and you'll see all of those fantastic layers coming through. Now, I've yet to meet anyone who has failed to be impressed by this fantastic tiramisu crepe cake. And I like to serve mine simply with a wonderful cup of espresso. I hope you'll be pleasantly surprised with this pancake tiramisu hybrid. It's quickly become one of my favourite desserts, and the one that my friends request the most as well. So buon appetito, and see you next time.